Why, hello, everybody. How are you folks doing out there today? It's another live stream Instagram artist chat Tuesday. It is Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. With the Living Room Community Art Studio. My name is Mary Cronard. And yeah, I'm here to chat to lovely makers, creators, artists, change makers, all of those folks in community who are doing amazing things. Maybe little things, maybe big things. Maybe they're trying new things. This is where I get to talk with them and learn more about who they are, what they do, and why they do it. And today, I'm so happy. I get to talk to someone who we've known at the Living Room for a long time. Wow, I guess they've been with us pretty much since the very beginning. We're really lucky here. We have a lot of amazing fiber and textile artists. I'm thinking of like the Rosemary Olivers, the Kellys of Scrapulous, and So Tara is another one of those fabulous creators that we've been lucky enough to work with. And when we were able to have Handmade with Heart marketplaces, Tara was always there. So without further ado, I'd love to invite her on so we can learn a little bit more about what she's up to these days and why she continues to do it, because I imagine it's super hard, especially during the last few years. So let's let's not waste any time. Let's just do this and go live with So Tara. So exciting. And hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're waiting for Tara to join us now. Let's see. Oh, it's got to happen, right? Oh, it's
there we go. Success. Oh, goodness.
I've had such rotten luck lately with technology, and I was like, oh no, it's going to be another week where something goes wrong. But you're here.
It worked. Yay.
So good to see your face.
Yeah, you too. Your hair's all gone.
Well, I got a little bit. I just, I like playing with it. I like playing with the look and feeling different things. As do you, I've noticed. There's some nice purple going on there.
Oh, yeah. I know. And then I think like, I'll go normal, and then I can't do it. So I don't.
No, we can definitely talk about that, because I'm sure that both of us, we've had moments in life where, we do more than one thing, because you're also a teacher, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there are those moments in our life where I'm like, I don't want to be normal. I'm not normal. I'm not built for whatever normal is supposed to be. So finding those little ways to kind of let those things out and still be able to work at other jobs is kind of a challenge sometimes.
Yeah. I remember I dyed it. I think it was like 2012, a long time ago, when I went purple, but the whole thing was purple. Yeah. And I did it the day before the last day of school, because I thought, okay, I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to go to school, and I'm just going to like see what happens. And like nothing blew up. No one.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to keep doing this in various ways. So here we are years later.
Well, before we get too carried away with catching up and chatting, could you, for the folks who out there who might not be familiar with who you are, explain about, who you are, what you do, just a little intro to So
Yeah. So I'm So Tara, and basically how this kind of started. Well, it's not. It started with cup cozies. So I guess I could have totally had one of those to show, and here I go.
Oh, excellent.
So if you have your cup from wherever.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to double cup or cardboard sleeve, I started to make these cute little cup cozies. And it started with screen printing them, funny sayings and things like that. And over time, because I really love sewing with scraps and keeping every little bit I have, it morphed into doing it with just scrappy, patchworky, put together, whatever I think is fun in the moment. And I have a big bin, and it sits beside me, and I just go. And I find it really soothing, and I put something on the monitor, or I listen to an audiobook, and it's what I do in my me time, I guess. Yeah.
And so you do it in your me time. What does that look like for you these days?
So when it all started, I think my son will be 15 in October. No, I know that. I don't think that. I know he's going to be 15 in October. But for my first Mother's Day, I got a sewing machine. And then, so he was 2, and then I had my other son. So they were 26 months apart. So I had like a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old running around, and they would go to bed, and I kind of didn't feel like a person. I just felt like a mom 24/7. And so I started to create things in that, mostly late at night. After they would go to bed, and I would start to sew and make things. So then sewing and making things grew, and then suddenly I had all these things, and what are you going to do with them? So I started to find ways to sell it or get it out there or go to a craft sale or sit at whatever and sell the things I was making. So that's sort of how it all started. And then I have like a fabric issue problem. Fabrics are so fun to me. I love vintage things. I love sticking things together. But then I started to keep pieces. So I made these, and then I started to keep the little pieces. And then of course that turned into keeping like tiny little things so that I could make like magnet sets.
I love
because I couldn't just bear to throw out, there's still a cute face on that. I'm going to make this. And then of course I kept even smaller and made little hair barrettes. And so that's as small as I go because it's very finicky. So I love to throw different fabrics together. I love the little coin purses I make. I just love the like the granniness of it, but like this is roller skates with some sassy words. You just, the juxtaposition of like, this is like a little old lady coin purse that you're going to put your money in, but also I've put like super cool, fun fabrics together on it. So I like to use what I have. So some, the interior is just whatever I have. Sometimes they're lined with maybe like a thrifted fleece blanket or something, just something that's in there. So I try to repurpose and reuse and save every little bit I can. The buttons are often found or, donated or something like that. So I try to have this mix of old and new and sort of an eco spin on it. If you're using this on your cup cozy, like your cup, it looks cute, but also you're not double cupping, you're not recycling cardboard. So yeah.
You can use them on other things too. I think I'm so glad you brought up the cup cozies because that was one of the first, I think, where I'd only recently moved to Oshawa. So this might've been 12, 13 years ago now. And that was my introduction to you. Seeing you, I think you were tabling at a Broken Arts market.
Yes.
And I remember just thinking, this is awesome. This person is awesome. I love everything here. And because I love sewing, but I'm the most impatient sewer ever. So when I see the kind of work you do, the detail, the dedication that goes into it, especially those tiny things that are finicky, holy moly. And those purses, those coin purses, there's so much work that goes into those little tiny pieces that make them little.
These are like, this frame is hand stitched onto here. You can not do it that way. There's ones that you can glue and it takes like a movie to hand stitch one of these on, and it's very like sometimes my thumb is, so it's really a labor of love. Like and then people are like, well, are you making any money on that? I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm just doing something I like. And then other people think they're cool, and I'm happy they think it's cool, and off it goes to a new home. Like, it's probably not a great business model, but I don't know. It works for me. So
I have quite a few things in my collection of yours as well. And I always love them as gifts and things like that, which is why I'm sad this year. I mean, I'm not sure what the market situation will be.
Yeah, it's been tough, and I found I tried to pivot, to being in stores but everyone does it so different. Like some places it's consignment, some places it's pay for your shelf, some places it's pay for your shelf and they take a cut. And as a maker, that's all very hard. I don't know why, but perceptually it's different. If you pay for a table and you stand there for the day and then you leave, I don't know. So I struggled with that. I tried to get in a few places. It's hard when they're far away to be on top of stock and, just things like that, know how it's doing. So I've kind of curved back on that, and I'm trying to stay more local. I had more things out there locally, but then of course everyone was shut down. So they kind of said, come get your stuff. And so it's navigating all that now and what the new handmade marketplace looks like, I guess.
I know, and maybe we'll
in the
get
next little bit.
more of that later because I do want to talk about what the future looks like. But I just want to take a moment to revisit this past year and a half. How are you? How have things been for you?
Yeah, well, when because I'm a teacher, when it all first went down, quite honestly, that was kind of nice because I guess no one really knew what was going on. So,
Oh, Kitty.
yeah, I was just gonna say, did you hear her? Because now she's like talking. Yes, hello.
Kitties are welcome to
Um,
live streams always.
um, when we left school the first time, I don't want her to knock everything over. This is Mittens.
Oh my God.
Hi, Mittens. So that first time, everyone didn't really know what was going on, and because everything was super temporary, I guess, we weren't really doing online schooling.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot of free time, and which was great because you kind of needed it to decompress what was going on. So I had time to create. We were walking all the time. I was outside roller skating in the nice weather once it came, and lots of that stuff. And then I fell into making masks. So people were like, "Hey, can you sew me a mask? You have neat fabrics. Can you this?" And I didn't really ever advertise it. I didn't, list them anywhere or anything. But it really went kind of crazy. And it was to the point where I was like waking up, coming to the machine, making masks, going to bed, waking up, and like stressed with the orders I had, and trying to find elastic supplies became a huge issue. To find the elastic for the ear loops was a problem. Yeah. So it got really big really quickly, and it did that thing where when you create and then it turns into work, and it's kind of not as fun anymore. So I struggled with that. I struggled with, people saying, struggling with the worth of your product is a thing to begin with anyway. Like, how long does it take me to sew this up? I've got to cut it. I've got to sew it. I've got to sit and watch a movie and stitch the frame on. Like, there's no way, it's a comparable salary or anything to say my actual job, right? Teaching. Yeah. So when it came to the masks, I really had this moral dilemma. Do I charge for these? What people need these. I'm helping keep people safe. This is a friend asking me, but at the same time, here I am stuck, in my area, sewing away for hours and hours and using my supplies, or having to order last minute things that I could find and paying more for shipping and things. I couldn't just walk into Fabricland and buy some elastic,
Yeah.
So it was a really interesting brain exercise. And then in the end, when it all faded away, thankfully, because that was really nice to not have to make a mask again. But when it all faded away, I had, come out with more, not profit, but more money in my Soterra business than ever. And I really, that was neat from a perspective of success. But from an artist, I was like, but what about the cool things I make? Like, nobody, but I have hair clips and cup cozies and I do fun stuff. And I was like the mask girl for a while. So that was tough. And, but again, it's just navigating the difference and coming back. So in the beginning, it was easy. I got down here and I was sewing the masks, and I think that burned me out from sewing for a bit. And then I fell back into it was summer again. I fell back into my own creating. Then, of course, the return to school was up and down, and we didn't really know what was happening. I teach kindergarten, so they're quite little, and it's usually all snot and sticky fingers anyway. So that was the thing. My mother's in a long-term care home, so there were a lot of bumps while that got ironed out, and I'm her guardian. So there was a lot going on there. So so now things are a little bit more settled, and I've gotten a bit to fun creating. I just restocked a store last week, so that's kind of cool. I got a bunch of stuff out, so it's all sort of concentrated in one place right now. Nice. And once the beginning of school settles a bit, I'll be able to do some more fun sewing, because I have to balance my creating with the fun stuff and some like making Soterra things versus just me things.
Well, that's a really interesting place to be too as a creator because it starts as something like you started 15 years. I can't believe you've only been sewing for 15. Your work is
Yeah, I
uh,
guess.
so
Yeah.
are you self-taught then?
Yeah, yeah. When I was a kid growing up, my mom like she didn't sew my clothes per se, but she sewed Halloween costumes for me and things
Yeah.
like that. So there was sewing going on. Um, I'm kind of one of those people that dabbles in like every craft, uh, given the chance.
Yeah.
I have watercolor stuff. I I yeah, sewing just kind of stuck with me. I can crochet. I can navigate crocheting enough to make a thing. I tried knitting and all of it. Knitting is not my friend. I don't know what it is about it. I could knit every day, and the minute I pick those needles up again, I have no idea. Any process has gone out of my head. I don't even know how to hold them when I'm like, how do I do this again? So I had a lot of sock yarn is very beautiful when you're in a yarn store. It's super pretty. It calls to me, but I need to just outsource that task to a friend who knows what they're doing because knitting is not my friend. So sewing, I get it. It really can just start as straight lines. Um, Following patterns is easy. I've gotten to the point where I can make things up a bit. I would love to branch into clothes a bit more,
Yeah.
but that's kind of daunting. So other than some t-shirts and some simple A-line skirts, I haven't really made many clothes. Um, but that would be a neat thing to do. And I would love to like design fabric.
You heard it
Like
here, folks. I was wondering about that because you have such an eye for fantastic, quirky fabrics,
I
and they're
would love,
lots
yeah,
of
and
can't find.
yeah, and just colors, or yeah, you have an idea or something wacky, and like Spoonflower exists, you can ship it out there and they'll make it and send it back to you. But I'm not very good with graphics and techie things. So a while ago I was like, I'll buy a nice new shiny iPad and get the pencil and I'm gonna learn to draw things on there. Yeah, and I haven't gone there yet, but and it's kind of like every summer I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna learn and then I sort of don't. I don't know if I'm like afraid, or when you're creative and you see it in your head and you can't get it out.
Yep.
So I think I have, before I've even started, I have that fear and I've talked myself out of it. But at some point, yeah, I'll just have to go for it. But I would love to do that and yeah, send it off to, and then just have the fabric arrive and have the because when I screen print my cup cozies, they're only black and white. That's all I can do is screen print in one color. But if I could, design them in multicolors and ship it off and it comes and I just cut it out, I don't have to trace a template. It could be right on the fabric and like boom, and I could have, yeah. So that's a wish I've had for a while that I should probably just jump
It
into. But
will happen. It will happen. And if anyone's watching who can help make that happen, you know what? Let's do this. Contact Sotara. Let's make it happen. Because
you can
that
teach me procreate in return for some cup cozies and cuperettes.
I can relate to that piece though, especially with summertime and especially every educator I know has that piece of them because you love teaching, but you also love learning, you love creating, and you have this window of time. And it seems like at the beginning, like this is going to be forever. Oh my God, there's so much time compared to, every day, 24 hours a day being taken up with my work. And you forget that that time goes by in like an instant.
Yeah, my fiance laughs that every year in this week, there's like this where I run around and buzz like a bee and do all these things. Like suddenly every project I didn't do, like I have this week of like anxiety buzzing where it all comes crashing down that I realize, I didn't finish these 900 things. I'm going to do them now. Like, so yes, that definitely happens. We need a bit in the beginning to decompress. And I think we kind of just fall into that. And then we get stuck there.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, we needed it. So
Well, that's it exactly. You were mentioning before about that. Well, we all know the strangeness of the last year and a half, and still not knowing really what lies ahead. And as a maker, you sometimes find yourself creating to keep busy for self-care, and then there's the piece with you where people realize like that you have this skill, this service you can offer, and the generosity of artists everywhere. Like that's one thing I've always been amazed at it, but especially during the incredibly stressful times, artists have continued to be so generous in this last year and a half when they themselves are not really benefiting from so much of that, what they're giving out, if that makes sense. I
Oh yeah, definitely. Art is what, is keeping us alive right now. I support some people on Patreon, and that everyone's just trucking and trying to get through this. I've been going, not to fangirl too much, but I'm a big Bare Naked Ladies fan, and I love Stephen Page,
yeah,
and he's been doing concerts every week, and he's done 65 now, 65 concerts from, well, initially from his basement, but now with the growth of it, he got a little studio. But so for, since last April,
yeah.
I've spent 65 Saturdays, sitting in this Zoom concert. And in the beginning, it was 1,000 people, which was max. But now it's dwindled down to this tiny community of like diehard people who go every week. And there's a Zoom chat, and we all like know each other, and it's been a life-saving community. And he often, because he had mental health struggles in his life, he often talks about how it has saved him. But we're all like, this has saved us, like to know every Saturday, like we have this thing to look forward to, and it's a concert. And so yeah, art is really a thing like that. And I follow Amanda Palmer, who's been in New Zealand, which is like okay-ish. So she's been able to perform and things. So yeah, art is keeping us saner, I think, now than we would have been without things like that. And thank goodness for the technology that exists, and the ability to kind of make the global world a bit smaller in all this while we're all in it together.
It has been amazing to me. It's been amazing to utilize technology that I thought would be, for example, like help me connect with people, but realizing that somehow over this last year and a half that I do feel closer to people.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those relationships are more meaningful than they might have been if we'd had opportunities to only connect in person. I'm not sure how that works, but I feel like there is this really interesting thing that technology has done, enabling artists to be seen and heard and connect with people who love what they do, that was there before. Because Amanda Palmer is a great example of that. Someone who's been at, the front, of the growing edge of these kind of relationships, really meaningful relationships that can help support artists. But again, she's a huge, like, that's one shining star example. For the average creator, I imagine it's been really difficult to find a way, okay, how can I connect with my audience so that I can continue to do what I do? Having that balance of, being able to give and support, but still make a living for yourself during the time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find yourself compelled to up your game on social media or to figure out new ways of getting your stuff out there?
A little bit, but I think that I don't know that I had the space for that as much as I, could have, or as some people did, with just the other pieces in my life, with the, having a full-time profession.
Yeah.
So, if this were my full-time gig, I could see how some makers just had no choice but to do that.
Yeah.
But and maybe with the mask thing happening right at the get-go, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I need to step back from this. So I've been lucky, and I've had those breaks of 2 normal summers. Whereas if other people had breaks, their breaks were probably filled with like uncertainty, because it was probably like you can't go to work, or your work doesn't exist anymore, or so.
Yeah.
I've been lucky in those things, and I think that what's held me back has kind of just been my own wellness, like how am I going to do today that cares for me? And maybe it isn't creating, because maybe I don't have the brain power for that. I've found a lot of not doing nothing, but I just, that's kind of what we've needed.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I read a ton of books, and then I set like a reading goal for 2020, and I'm like, wow, I'm going to blast through books again. And this year I'm not blasting through as many books. And the weather's been a little wacky for us, between, saying it's going to rain every day, so you can't make any plans, and then being, super humid. But I haven't been out skating as much as I was last year. And so I'm just not really sure where that is. So I don't think I really found a good flow But I mean, it is what it is. And so you just go with the flow you have.
I know. Well, I think that's what a lot of us have been forced to do, is kind of go with our own flow, because we can't necessarily rely on the same connections that we had before to make plans or to get out there and connect, which is also like, it's an interest, getting to know what your own flow is. If you remove all those other layers of what other people expect from you, is a really, that can be really important too, I think.
Yeah, to look at where do you go and what do you gravitate to, and
Yeah. Like even hearing like about you skating again. So folks who may not, I think I know, because you're once upon a time, or still, are you a derby?
yeah, roller derby. So it's a still. It's just you know, a sport where you touch numerous people and sweat all over each other isn't exactly very COVID compliant. Yeah. So we're working on how to get back. So pretty much last March, the roller derby world in our area, Durham, we have a league, kind of shut down. Yeah. So and then in the beginning, we were doing a lot of going outside. So trail skating, things like that. Our team would still meet. And then again, I think as, I don't want to say a hopelessness, but as the uncertainty of things kind of settled, and we were all like, what's going on? So it's just kind of ramping back up, where people are trying to get active again, get outside, get skating. We use city facilities, so there's a lot of procedures and all of that. So they're just ironing out what does that look like, and how can we get back to our sport. So we're hoping in the fall that that will happen. So, and it'll start up again for us, and then we're gonna have to see, you know, in the roller derby world, not to talk roller, but a lot of people realized that maybe what we're saying, what you would gravitate to, like a lot of people realized, wow, because I had derby in my life, I wasn't doing this, and now I like this. Or some people were like, oh, that knee that always bugs me isn't bugging me anymore because I'm not. So there's going to be this shift, and it'll be interesting to see who comes back. That said, thanks to Instagram and a lot of people posting fun skating, there's been a huge resurgence in roller skating, and places selling out and people not being able to buy them. And so, you know, there could be a whole flood of new people who come to roller derby saying like, hey, what's this thing? Can I try it out? So that'll be exciting for us to, and we're all going to be starting from the same, like, unfit, out of shape, out of practice space. So that'll be kind of interesting as we all hold each other up and get back to where we used to be. So just starting over, which is, you know, what we have to do in a lot of professions and avenues and ways in the handmade marketplace. You know, how are we gonna do this? What's a craft show gonna look like this year if we get to one before Christmas? Like, what, you know, how does it look?
We've had people begin to email us asking if we're doing Handmade with Heart this year, and there's a few factors in place for any city. Like, so for Oshawa, for example, folks, I don't know if you know this, it's been gentrifying really quickly. So a lot of the bigger spaces that we used to be able to rent or have donated or like use for a market aren't as available anymore. I know the punk rock flea market was up against this a little bit as well. Like, where to hold a market that you can do it safely, and how to manage the market, and how to make sure your vendors are safe. And as soon as I start to think about it, my brain just goes, oh no, turning off. So I don't know. I can't answer people when they call. Do you have any hopes or plans, or are you aware of any new strategies that are happening with regards to that?
No, I don't really know anything. And again, this time of year, I tend to focus on the whole back to school piece. And I mean, I feel like, you know, other than outdoor, which as we, you know, move into October, you know, you're kind of running out of outdoor weather friendly time. Like, sure, we could do it in November, and, you know, that's been a thing before, but so and then even outdoor, you still got all these things if you're shutting down the street or you're outside the library like that time, and you know, like there's still pieces at play. But I know farmers markets are back and doing things, and I know some people have had some outside things. So maybe that, you know, it just has to be earlier than we're used to, and it's outside. I know lots of people have done a lot of online things, and they just walk around, you know, their space and share things. So and I mean, the thing is, everyone in the handmade business, you know, does it because they love it. They do what they love. So it's going to be there when it comes back. It's everyone's going to just hop right back in, and or they've still been making and they've got like a cupboard overflowing with their whatevers. Like we've all been making because we need so the maybe the great part out of this is that that's going to come. Or maybe someone wandered away from, couldn't go to their whatever job and then they gravitated to making something. So we're probably going to see a bunch of great new makers that have come out of this because they had time at home to finally be like, act on their thing like I'm not acting on, but like, hey, I've always wanted to pick up a such and such, and they did it. And so, a lot of people learned a lot of cool things in this time with all like, cooking and this and that. So it might be interesting to see. We're probably going to get a huge like surge of new makers. That would be really exciting.
That would be amazing. And I just want to call back and gently challenge you, because it's not like you have failed in your endeavor. I think what I'm imagining is that you gave yourself so many challenges, wonderful things you wanted to accomplish in the last few months, that you couldn't possibly do them all. And I also I love hearing that you're prioritizing your own self-care and wellness and your life over business, because like knowledge, there's a difference between making for your own love, your own joy, and then making to produce, to sell. And they're both important things. I have no doubt you're going to be making fabric, Tara. I've no
it will come. It will come. I won't be able to resist it.
Yeah.
At some point, it's going to hit me over the head. Yeah.
That'll happen. So don't worry about it so much. It will happen. But I love that you have prioritized those things. And from all the other artists I've been talking to as well, it seems that for a lot of them, that's been a really important conversation to have over the last year. That in some of them, some folks, we go to dark places in those times, like wondering, like, is this something I should even be continuing to think of or continue pursuing? Was there ever a moment for you where you, like, it sounds like you took a break, you stepped back from sewing, and being that kind of machine, that mask making machine that you were? Was there a moment for you where you had, you found yourself in that dark place and you had to work your way through it?
No, I don't think maybe a dark place. I just, I didn't come here to my space, and
it's a nice.
And then, it's my twinkle lights, and it's very busy and full of fun things, and it's visually stimulating. I think I just didn't do it for a while. And it used to be if, I went a few days without making something, like I kind of like realized like, oh, I need to make something to carry on with my existence. Like if I don't make something, I'm not going to be doing well. And I think that, maybe I just needed a break from that, or it was too much I think I just burnt out from it with the mask things. Cause, it is really funny how you're like, oh, even the things I love to sit here and make scrappy cozies. But if it was like, okay, you got to make 50 by tomorrow, then I'm like, oh, and then it isn't. So I'm going to load up a movie and do this. Suddenly it's a weird shift that happens. It becomes work, and it becomes just, you can come at it differently. So, I think I just needed some time, and there was no pressing reason to do it. So I maybe meandered and did some other things. And then, I wandered back to it. Sometimes often in the Saturday concerts, I'll sit here and make things. Like I was working on like a little quilt. I've been putting scraps just together to work towards making a quilt. So I'll often just put my little wireless headphones on and, jam out to the concert and sew. And, my family knows they're fending for themselves on Saturdays, and dinner's on the fiance, and it's all good. We have a whole system for it. And then I come back up when it's over. So, but so it was just navigating that balance, and, what, like you said, the wellness piece, like what do I need, which I think is what a lot of people have had to deal with right now. Priorities, examining things, what are you going to do with your time? Where should you focus your energy? What energy do you have to focus anywhere?
That's it too, right? And acknowledging that might shift or fluctuate from day to day, depending on what's happening in the world or your own life. Being attuned to that, rather than so much the needs of other people and their expectations again is important.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make when you it sounds like you found a really good balance right now with making the things for other people, for your Sotara enterprises. And you were mentioning too that you've begun to sew other things that are really fun, the things that you enjoy. What's the creative thing that you go to that to bring you relief when you want to escape and just tune out from the world?
A funny one actually, and I don't know. I keep all the. Hang on, let me get it.
Okay. I'm gonna look around and nose around in your mouth a little bit and see.
I don't mind like. There's a Rainbow Bright. There's lots of my childhood. There's like 2 Barbies up here. There's some My Little Ponies, a Strawberry Shortcake, Care Bears.
I love the creative space here. I see it in your work as well. I love that it's there.
Yeah, and just the other side is my bedroom. Like this is our basement and it's our bedroom. But there's just art from like handmade art from everybody. I don't know if it works. Hang on, if I try this.
You can on a tour if you want.
Oh, so that's like my bedroom wall, and it is just it's just full of well the whole room. Like the other side, there's like just handmade art. So I have that. Sometimes makers are offended when you're at a thing and there's those people who walk by like, I can make that. They say to their friend, and sometimes I do say that, and then sometimes I'm like, well, I don't care because it's worth it to me to pay you to buy that thing because you made a beautiful thing, and as a maker, I understand that. So sure, there's an element of I could go home and I can make that pillow you're selling, but your pillow's really awesome, and I don't care, and I'm just gonna buy it. So
and infused with spirit too, which is the other thing.
Yeah. So you don't not have to be rude about it, but so in the spirit of keeping everything, I often keep the salvages from fabric. So like whatever this one is, this is a really cute one I bought to do something in my classroom. It's got little letters on it, but the edge of it has these cute little like strawberries and one of the roller skate ones I have on the edge of the salvage is actual like little roller skates. So sometimes if I want to, I just need to sew, I need to zone out, but I don't want the pressure of making something. I'll just sit and sew these salvages together and essentially make fabric. So somewhere I have like big pieces, like say like it's an entire meter of just these all sewn together because people do some really cool things. There's people who make dresses with them. There's, so I just keep all these because I can't not. And then I just sew them together so that all the cool little edges show and the little color tests. And like this is a fabric that has giraffes all over it, but then there's little jungle animals on the selvage. So that's a really, like, it seems like a weird one because I'm just sitting here sewing straight lines, but I have something on, Netflix or Prime or something playing away, audiobook, whatever. And I just kind of go and it's just straight lines and then I'm done and I have this big piece of fabric I made.
I love that so much. Oh my God. That makes me so happy to hear that. I've started making my own twine with fabric scraps, twisting fabric together. And I find
cool.
Like, I'm not quite sure why I'm making this. I don't know why, but I love doing it. It would just go into the, or like it would be thrown away otherwise. What you could
I've made a rug. Wait, let me see. Yeah, this. We could like just do more.
Yeah.
Let me see the middle. This is my rug.
Yeah.
That I crocheted.
Love it.
Out of vintage sheets. They're just similar thing, I think. Like you rip it up and you make a little slit in it and then you put the other one through and it makes a big long piece. And then I have these huge balls of just they were like drop cloths someone had used for painting. So they were cool vintage sheets, but they had paint in places that you couldn't, you wouldn't be able to like make a dress or something. So so I did that and I made a rug. So this is what I do. Like I bought a like giant, huge crochet hook thing that's massive. Have I used it since? No. Off I go. I make a rug. I crochet a rug. Boom. Put on the floor, and then I like wander to the next thing. Like this is like okay.
Well, now that you say that you've only used it once. Now it's in my head. I'm like, I gotta call Tara, ask her to do it. when the mobile art hive is up and running. I see that as a good outdoors workshop where people could, anyways, that's for another time. That's for another time.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, that's something that creators do, isn't it? Like, I love the fact that you own all of the different energies you have and the impulses you have, and you're not just stuck in one thing. It's not a narrow path. Like, following that little excitement, that little bit of sparkle, and seeing it where it leads you is so important.
Yeah, well, and when I initially started making, because I was, I had little kids, it was kind of like, oh, I'll make baby things, but that wasn't really my thing. It was just kind of like, well, I'm in all these baby groups, I'm seeing all this baby stuff. Sure, I can sew up a rag quilt or I can make a bib or whatever, but it just wasn't my thing. So I tried that a bit. And so yeah, what if you have an idea like, I want to be a maker, I'm going to make this, be ready to maybe not make that. Be ready to have it evolve, or you see something one day and you go off on another, and that's okay until you settle where you're settling. Like,
I love
it,
that.
it can be fluid for a bit. It can be fluid forever, but
Yeah.
but still, don't be like, oh no, I blew it making X product. Well, no, you just ended up over there, and that's okay.
That's wonderful. I think that's some of the best advice we can give people. Any other advice you'd like to share? I mean, I'm looking at the clock. It's like 22 now. I've kept you on here for almost 3/4 of an hour, and I'm having fun. Uh, there's so much I want to talk to you about, actually. But let's see. Focus, Mary. Focus, focus, focus. Okay. There's two things that I'm interested in. One
Okay.
is the relationship with your machine, because
Okay.
this is a real big thing for every person I've talked to who sews, who makes using a sewing machine. There is something that happens, and when I hear you talking about just sewing those straight lines and going to that happy place, there's something there, the relationship that you have with the machine and the sounds it makes and the quirks it has. What's your machine like? What's your relationship with yours?
That's funny because again, this was something that changed. A friend gave me a machine, and it's over there right now because it's a little bit fancy, and it it threads itself, and
I've heard.
you could not use a pedal. Like, there's a button you could sew with, and so anyway, I it's a cool machine, but I find, I don't know, sometimes I'm like battling it. Like, we don't have a groove. And so then there's these when I sometimes sew with cork, and it's a little bit heavier, obviously, so you need a bit more punch and heavy duty. So this one is just like a boring Singer heavy duty like machine. It you have to thread it yourself. You have to do and it kind of just became my machine now, because that one started acting funny and I put it in like timeout, and I intended to take it to get serviced and I didn't, and it's just been sitting over there. So then this one has just kind of become my friend through all this. So I've been at it, and then I have a different Singer machine for when I do my when I use juice pouches and make Kool-Aid bags and the things I make with using the juice pouches, just because it could get sticky or weird and I don't want to gum up the fabric machine. So so I have another Singer that I do that with. So I guess I've fallen back into, the simple ones. Like, that one over there is all electronic, and there's like digital display. Like, this just has like a wheel, like your grandma's sewing machine had, and you turn it, and so super simple, heavy duty. So I know it's going to take what I put in it, and I don't have to worry that things are going to gum up and jam up. So, yeah, so that's what I currently use, and it's got a few stickers on it. It's as many stickers as the other one because I have it. It's a new relationship we're working through.
Got it. Does it have a name? Have you given names to your machines?
No, it's just there.
Sorry, not that you have to. I know some people who do, and I know I'm at the studio all the time. I would talk to the machines sometimes, and when people were having rough times with their machines, when we were like, if they were new to sewing, or they wanted, all the things that can happen when you're starting out sewing on a strange machine that you don't have a relationship with, I would invite them to talk to their sewing machines, just to be like, hey friend, do you need a break? How are you doing today?
I feel like if and when I talk to mine, it's in all the bad times, and I'm probably not saying very nice things.
Okay. my question was, since we are coming to a close with this lovely, lovely chat, which I really needed today. So thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
Worries. Mm-hmm.
Again, this is all about me. I feel like everything I say, it's for the living room and the community. No, it's about me. Okay, like any advice about you mentioned that piece about making and finding and being prepared to not abandon, but to be open to other possibilities along your creative journey as a maker. Is there any other advice that you'd offer up to people? Maybe, to the you that was, the Tara that was 15 years ago when you were just starting out making things for folks. What would you tell them now?
I think just, well, that's a tough one. I don't know. In the beginning, when I started this, a lot of things were very new. Etsy was kind of new. Everyone was blogging. I moved away from that because I felt like I was just sort of saying the same things. It's way easier now to just show something on Instagram that you made or share a story or, little snippets versus epicness.
Yeah.
Back in the beginning, I think you just kind of need to seize opportunities because like way in the beginning, I remember my kids were young. I went to Etsy. They ran a symposium, and which was fine. And it was $50 or something, and I just bought a ticket. Like I had no plan. And then I just said to my ex, like, okay, I bought this $50 ticket, so I have to be in Brooklyn on this weekend. So I just said that.
Etsy.
Yeah, it was actually at Etsy. So then, so I had no plane ticket. I had no hotel. My kids were like 2 and 4. Like I was like, what am I doing? And so then they ran like a program where they were going to sponsor someone to go. So I filled out a thing, and then they picked me because I was coming from the farthest. So I kind of got like a bunch of money from a company, and which basically paid for my plane ticket. And then when I went to there, so I got to an Etsy headquarters, I was there. It was, this was very back in the beginning. Like this was maybe like, it was, I don't even know what year it was. Like it was probably like 2011 or 10 or something.
Yeah.
So I got to go there. I got to see the headquarters, got to meet a bunch of people, and the company took me out for dinner and all this stuff. And then so I came back and I was like, that was really cool and whatever. And then a month later, I got a message on Etsy, and they said that the Martha Stewart show was doing their last show, recording the last show ever, and she wanted to fill the audience with Etsy sellers. So they gave Etsy, said, well, here's this list of people who were just here a month ago, so they're probably game to be here again. And then, so then I was like, oh no. And then I was like, okay, I need to go to New York on this weekend. And in my head, I was like, well, I was going to go the first time, and then I got the money back. So now it's kind of like I'm just paying for one trip. So yeah. I booked the same hotel. I totally just went back. And then we were all in the audience, and we all got to, like, when you clapped the commercial, we got to hold up what we made. And then at the end, we got to walk by and take a picture with her. and we got a whole bunch of, like, swag. Everyone got a bunch of stuff. Yeah. A lot of it I couldn't bring home because it was liquids and we couldn't take it on the airplane. So that was a funny story. Anyway, so that happened, and it was just kind of like this really neat experience. And, I didn't have, and maybe I think just kind of know if you have the space, what you have the space to do at the time. Because with I don't even think I was teaching full time at that point because I was staying home with my kids a bit. So I was already balancing a profession. I was balancing being a new mom with young kids. And I was just kind of starting this business thing. I had made the funny cup cozy that said caffeinating, please wait. And it got shared online, and it kind of blew up. Yeah. And that's how I got known. And on Etsy, if you search cup cozy, like I was the first thing, and because this was way back. And so sometimes I'm like, oh, like I missed this, there was the opportunity to explode into this big thing. But at the same time, being a teacher was always my life dream. So I'm here, and now I just kind of get the best of both worlds. So, so my thing would be just, take opportunities, maybe don't question it. I was playing safe opportunities, obviously, but it wasn't a big deal to be like, I'm spending $50 American on this Etsy thing. And then I was like, okay, now I need to figure out how I'm getting there. Like, how am I going to this weekend of learning at Etsy? And I just made it work. So I think, you know, taking those chances, taking big chances, little chances, opportunities, however you want them, right? Just do it. And if you get at a sale or a craft show and you're there, my favorite part about those is the energy from other makers, talking to people. Like, you often make a cool connection or something. Like, just be open to all the things, because they're going to flood in, and then you can just run with it. And not, like I said, be flexible, because it might change. So
You never know. You never know where.
yeah, never know.
Oh, you're missing. I'm missing markets now. I'm missing being in person. It will come back. It will come back. It will come.
My evil plan to get you to just do it again.
In my I'll just in my driveway. Everyone, come on over. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Backyard market.
Yeah. That's the thing. We could. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The gears are okay. It's happening. It's happening. We'll figure it out. And last but not least, where can people find your beautiful things if they do want to support you and appreciate?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, oh, that's a derby person. That's my derby name, Stitches, because I sew. So
That's a fantastic derby name on so
yeah.
amazing.
That's so funny. Hey. Okay, where can you find me? Yeah, so if you just it's SewTara. I'm out there everywhere, SewTara. Instagram, Facebook. I just kind of picked a punny name and went with it. So Etsy mostly just has my cup cozies. So if there's something, you know, like the scrappy ones aren't really on there, because Etsy, every listing costs, you know, it's just so much to photograph or whatever. So if you're looking for a cool cup cozy, if you have a neat idea, if you're like, I like hedgehogs and umbrellas, let me know, because I probably have hedgehogs and umbrella. Like, it's just crazy, the fabric I have. So I love cute Japanese fabric. So I've got lots of fun things. If it's bright and colorful and wacky, I probably have it. So I love the challenge of making something new. If someone says, you know, hey, can you make it a different size for my special cup? Yeah, I'm all over it. Like, totally cool. So yeah. So SewTara everywhere.
SewTara everywhere. And it's funny because I do call you SewTara. I know you have your name, and I was going, but I just fall back to SewTara every time. It's what I.
That's okay.
But thank you so much for hanging out with us for this last hour.
Yeah, this was lots of fun. Thanks.
Pleasure. And I look forward to connecting and creating with you again soon. And we'll work on the market thing. We'll work on it.
I'll nudge you on market, you nudge me on fabric. There we go.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Okay. Wonderful day. Okay.
Bye.
That was lovely. I needed that boost of creative energy and lightness and brightness and positivity. I hope you did too. I hope you can take a little bit of that away with you. And of course, that fantastic message about being open to things, the spontaneity of saying yes when those opportunities arise, taking those creative risks, even though you're not quite sure at the time maybe how you'll figure it out. If it brings you that joy, if it makes you excited, if it makes it feel like your life is flowing forward in the direction you want it to, give it a try, and you never know where it'll take you. Thank you so much to SewTara for being our guest today on our live stream artist chat. Can't wait to come back next Tuesday for another artist chat with Phelan. We'll be posting about that soon. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. If you only got to tune in now, don't worry. This chat will be archived on the Living Room Art Studios Instagram page. And of course, all our other chats are also on our YouTube channel. You can find us there with lots of other cool workshops and live stream archived stuff, tons and tons of stuff. So look us up. Thank you so much, everyone. And I hope wherever you are, you're feeling safe and happy and getting ready for this next new season coming our way. Until we can all create and connect with one another again in person, I look forward to connecting and creating with you right here online. Take care, everyone, and see you again soon. Bye.